Okay, so we're ready to add the final parts to our bee. We're gonna add a wing, a stinger, a tongue, and legs. But we're gonna do this in a smart way. We're just gonna make each object and then we'll multiply them. So we're going to be animating this, so we want to make our lives a little easier. So I'll make one leg, I'll put bones in it and weight maps, and then I will copy it and place it where I want it to go. Okay, so I guess I'll start with a leg, and we have to make a decision. I think the decision for right now is I'm going to make this guy into a bee. He's really simple, just a ball with a mouth. So we'll make this, and I'll use that as my reference object. Okay, so I need to make a leg. So again, we're doing box modeling. So I'll go box, and I will subpatch it, and I'm going to stop right there. So I'm going to keep this super simple. I'm just going to take this and shape it by selecting some points or polys and moving them. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth shift, click, H to stretch, and I'm going to make this get nice and narrow, and I'm going to move this down, and I'm going to say this isn't too bad. I actually might make this just be my leg. I think I will make this be my leg. So I have this basic shape. It could be a tooth, it could be the stinger, whatever. It's gonna be our leg. I said before we're gonna try to just use smooth shifting and loop slicing. So this time I'm gonna select this loop, hit L, and do a little loop slicing. So I want my leg to look a little bit more interesting than this. It is gonna bend, but barely. So I'm gonna use loop slicing, and I'm gonna think about where I want this to bend. Again, knowing that my object should face plus Z, and I'm going to put little cuts where I want my leg to be able to bend. So I'll put a little cut here. So in this case, I should be able to rotate this around to make the leg. Looks pretty good. I'm going to definitely need more geometry. Truthfully and honestly, anywhere you think there's going to be a bend, what I usually like to do is I put a cut. So select loop, okay, L the loop slice, above, okay, and below that joint to kind of help hold it in place. Remember, you can always take these edges and move them and slide them, right, to make the form that you want. So again, I'm making a little weird looking leg, but I know I want to bend the knee, so my knee area is going to be in here, and I want to have a couple cuts above and below where I want that joint to make sure that I'm able to kind of hold this into place. Okay, and you can always come back at any point in time and modify this however you want. So for this case, I'm going to say this shape looks pretty good. That's going to be my leg. Again, the idea here is to keep this super simple. Okay, so it's good enough for now. And if I want to add more points or do something else to it a little bit later, I certainly can, but I think I'm going to keep it there. So leg is done. Next, we need a stinger, right? So again, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the leg, box, and subpatch it. And I'm going to take this bottom polygon here, and I'm just going to stretch this really narrow, like so. And then I'll loop slice it. So select in a direction, hit your right arrow, and just start hitting L. There we go. There it is, stinger. And I will select these bottom polygons and just maybe stretch them a little bit just to give it a little bit of personality. So there we go, it's a stinger. Next, we need a wing. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to create a box, subpatch it. This time I think I will subdivide it. Okay, so that's going to be our wing. As far as the direction of the wing, doesn't matter right now, but I'm going to make this kind of like a teardrop. So I'm going to select this area here, and I'm going to stretch it nice and small, and I'm going to move it down. So you see in the back window it looks pretty good. From the side, doesn't look so good. So I will stretch this, so come to the side view, and just kind of stretch it flat. Alright, so again, trying to use as few tools as possible to make this easier. I might want to bend my wing a little bit, so I might just take these polygons up top, smooth shift them, maybe move it up a little bit. And this way, if I want, I could always go to mouse mode, rotate this, has a little bit of bend. Alright, so that's pretty good. Just in case, I'm going to select the bottom half and hit L to loop slice through this. Do you have to do all these steps? Not necessarily, but I do want to make this thing move. So the more points I have, the more vertices, the better this will deform later on. So there we go. There's my wing. Done. Next, I'm going to make a tongue. So I'm going to kind of, new layer. I am going to put my body in the background just so I can see this a little bit better. But again, I'm just going to make a box because we're box modeling. I will sub-patch it. Looks pretty good. I think for this guy, I'm just going to stretch it and stretch it. And I will, I guess I'll subdivide it. Why not? So subdivide. I'll hit OK. Looks pretty good. I'll take this back part, these back, polygons here. And I'm going to go in the top window this time, and I'm going to Shift F to smooth shift, move them back a little bit, okay? And I'm going to hit H to stretch. I'm just going to stretch this kind of small. So it's kind of like the wing, okay? Maybe it's a little bit narrow, but this is actually going to be our little tongue area. So it looks pretty good. If I want this tongue to bend, I do need more. So I will smooth shift, more geometry, and this looks gigantic. So I will, of course, take it and just kind of stretch it a little bit. Looks pretty good. It's kind of like a tongue. Obviously, if I was doing this for real, I would spend more time on it. But in this case, this is all just supposed to be really quick. All right, so just doing the basics. All right, so I am going to take this and just maybe take this edge and pull it down a little bit. And there's my tongue. It's big, so I will stretch it. And I'm going to make everything straight. Okay, if you haven't figured that out, I will add bones to these a little bit later. So it's much easier to work when things are not bent. We'll use bones to deform this stuff a little bit later. But for now, we're going to keep everything really kind of basic. Looks pretty good. So there's my tongue, my wing, my stinger, and my leg. I guess I should do some surfacing here. So really quick, change surface. I'll call this leg, L-E-G. Pick a color. It doesn't really matter as long as it worked. Okay. Then I'm going to come back here. Q. I'll call this sting for stinger. And I'll pick a color again. As long as it's got a color, I know that it worked. And then I'm going to come here. Q. I'll call it wing. W-I-N-G. Pick a color. Okay, and then last but not least, tongue. So Q-T-O-N-G-U-E, tongue. And then, oops, I already have a surface tongue, so that's fine. And tongue. All right, done.